Okay, workshop 9, intestacy. This week we're looking at intestacy, which is of course the situation where a person dies without a valid will, which is full intestacy, or where the will doesn't cover their whole estate, which is a partial intestacy. And that occurs when a gift might fail, or there's content in the will that's not covered by the will, there's property that's not covered by the will, and various other matters. So basically there are sort of rules that harken back to Anglo-Saxon days as to how property is settled if there's not a valid will. And at the end of the day, worst comes to worst, the Crown gets everything, which is nice for the Crown, I guess. Now, one of the things we want to talk about this week is in the workshop is some of the issues around intestacy, because quite obviously it focuses mainly on spouses and children, and in Western Australia, for some reason, parents get a stronger look in than everyone else. But it's very much based around the a very traditional idea of the nuclear family. And one of the reasons why I included in the readings the links to the Bureau of Statistics material on changes to the Australian family is the family is changing dramatically. And that wouldn't necessarily be a problem so much if intestacy wasn't also on the rise, that people, for whatever reason, and it's interesting question as to why, are not creating wills. And part of it, I think, is people presume that it's something that'll be taken care of, and it's one of the problems we have with cultural difference in this area of law, is that people often presume that their cultural wishes will be taken into consideration when property is devolved. In fact, they may not even think that the law gets involved or the state has any role, and people may be very surprised at what happens at the end of the day. And that the rules followed by the Australian courts are very much based on one view of how a family is and how a family operates and how an individual relates to the community. So it'll be an interesting discussion this week, and there's interesting and difficult consequences, particularly for Indigenous Australians who largely don't have wills at all. So that's this week. The readings are pretty much on the technical rules. I don't think they're very difficult. They're technical and require very careful application, and of course this may be an area that's on the exam, because it's something you can sit down and you can plug the rules into the into a case scenario, and you can figure out the result at the end of the day. But it's the key difficulty is being careful and double checking your results all the time. Okay, we'll talk about that more in the workshop this week.